Welcome to HSK week 4. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about cai, which have shown up in some examples before that we looked at. It's right here, and the pinyin looks like this, C-A-I, with the second rising tone. And cai is interesting. It's related to jiu, and we've talked about jiu and some functions of jiu before, and it's related in the sense that it has the same. It usually has the same place in the sentence. Like if you were to take one out and pop the other in there, it'd be in the same spot. And they both have like a limiting function, a narrowing function, but in different ways. And there are some cases, and I'm going to start with this segment after I intro is going to be focused on this. There are some cases where they actually do mean the same thing. And then there's a bunch of cases where, while they both limit, they do it in a different way and almost have an opposite meaning. And we'll get into some of that too. But I'm going to attempt to generalize the way they function in kind of like a broad concept. And then you really need to learn them kind of like in each way each usage separately. But I'm going to attempt to really broadly talk about how they function. And cai, it's limiting, but it usually has something like, it has like a not until or only after idea. For example, you could like, we're not leaving until you finish your tea, or until after you finish your tea. Or until this, we can't do this until so much time has passed, that kind of thing. So it's limiting in the sense that it's saying like only this kind of option is okay, these other options aren't okay, but it's like you have to cross over a barrier or something. It's not until or only after or only in the case of this, then this will qualify or be able to do it. Jiu also limits, but it's more of like an exactly idea. Like, if you drink your tea, then you can go. It pinpoints, instead of saying it's not until something happens, it's like when something happens, then boom, it's exactly at that point that something will happen. And so it's more of like a pinpointing exactly idea. It's exactly at this point that something can happen. And so it's a limiting in the sense that, it still is like pinpointing, and so it's like saying it's this point, not the other points, but it has a different feel. Instead of saying not until this thing happens, then you can go, when you cross this barrier, then something can happen. It's saying when you cross this barrier, boom, it's there. I don't know if that makes sense. If it's not helpful, you can forget about it and just learn the specifics. But that's my best attempt to sort of generalize how these two words tend to influence the meaning of sentences. Okay, now we're going to talk about one way in which jiu and cai actually function exactly the same. And it's really the same as we talked about zhi last week, and it means only. So it's only this much or only this amount of time, that kind of thing. That usage of only you can also use jiu and cai, and sometimes jiu and cai and zhi all can be used interchangeably in a certain sentence. Sometimes it's zhiyou, like only has, or there is only. So it would be jiu or cai and then zhiyou. I'll give you zhiyou. Yeah, I think. Let me give you this first example. 我女儿才5岁. 我女儿, what does that mean? Remember? 我女儿, my daughter, 才 only 5岁. What does 5岁 mean? 5 years old. 我女儿才5岁. She's only 5 years old. If I said, I could also say 我女儿就5岁. 就5岁. Or I could also say 我女儿只有5岁. 只有5岁. Okay. So here, it means like only this much, just like zhi often means that as well. Okay, 他才来了2个月. This is from All Set Learning. She 才来了2个月. Let's look at 来了2个月. You know what that means? 来 come 2个月 2 months. 来了2个月. This is a duration phrase saying that she came and then has been here for 2 months. 她来了2个月. It doesn't mean that she was in the process of coming for 2 months. It means that she came and has been here for 2 months. She came 2 months ago and has been here for 2 months. That's like you can't quite directly translate that phrase into English. You wouldn't say she came for 2 months. That doesn't make much sense. But she has been here for 2 months. She came 2 months ago. 她来了. Okay, so what does 她才来了2个月 mean? She has only been here for 2 months. We can also say 她就来了2个月. We can also say 她只来了2个月. All of those work. And then finally, this other sentence here, 已经2天了. This is also a duration phrase. 2天, 2 days. So 已经, what does that mean? Already. 已经2天了. So 已经 and 了 usually go together. 已经2天了. So already, it's been 2 days. It's been 2 days already. 你才看完一页. You 才 only 看完 finished reading or read 一页 1 page. Question mark? This is also from All Set Learning. So in other words, you don't want your teacher to say this to you, right? It's been 2 days and you've only read 1 page. But here, 才 means only, and you could say 就 or 只. All of them work. You can like pop the others in there and it would work just fine. So in this only function, this only meaning, we can use 就 and 才interchangeably, and often 只 or 只有 can also all mean that only this much, only this long kind of idea. Hey, in this part we're going to talk about 才when it means not until or only after, or something along those lines. Exactly the way you would translate a particular sentence using this sort of meaning into English can vary, but conceptually the idea is the same. Something can't happen until a moment passes, a certain amount of time, a certain amount of effort has been extended, or something has been accomplished, etc. Let me give you a couple examples of how this works, and then you can see it kind of in real life. 你做完作业才能出去玩 or 玩. 你做完 you finish 作业 homework. 你做完作业 you finish homework. 才 not until 能 can 出去 go out 玩 or 玩 to have fun. So you can't go out and play until you have done your homework. So while in English we use the phrase until, not until, but the way we say it is kind of, you can't go out until you do your homework. In Chinese you say, you finished your homework. 才能出去玩. I'm trying to even I can hardly even directly translate this like word for word and have it make sense in English, because of the word order is just so different. And I'm trying to on the fly here piece it together. I mean, I can understand it, but 你做完作业 you finish homework. 才 and so this is like the condition, and this is like then what can be done after the condition is met. So 你做完作业才能出去玩. 能 and 才 often go together in this kind of usage, and it makes sense. It's like, you can't do your homework. You can't go out. Excuse me. You can go out. Oh man. You see what I'm trying to do here? It's like the word order is just so different. In English, we even have like a negated thing. You can't go out until you've done your homework. Where in Chinese, look, there's no 不 or may in this sentence. It's just there's no negation, right? So this is the kind of like the condition, the thing that must be met, and then this is like what can happen after that, because this has been met. 你做完作业才能出去玩. I'm almost like I can hardly break it down further. I hope I'm making sense, or I hope this, more importantly, that this makes sense, and how it's put together. So here we go. 他锁上了门. This is another one that means not until, but it's not saying someone can do something. It's saying it wasn't until. Okay, so this 他锁上了门 means he locked the door. 锁上 means to lock. 门 is door. 他锁上了门才想起来 remembered 没有带钥匙 did not bring the key. So what this is saying, this happened first. 他锁上了门才想起来没有带钥匙. So he did not remember that he had forgotten his key until he had already locked the door. 他锁上了门, so he locked the door, 才 remembered he hadn't brought his key. So the way we put these sentences together in English and Chinese is just so radically different. But I hope you get the function of 才. It's like not until some condition has been met, some time has passed, or something like that. Okay, so this one is 那本书. This is only after, I think. It would be the way you probably translate this in English. 那本书我看了2遍才看懂. By the way, this example was from All Set Learning, and the third one is as well. That book. So this is a topic sentence. So the topic is first. That book. 我看了2遍. Remember what that means? 2遍. 遍 is a measure word referring to times, like how many times something happens. The most common one is 次, but 遍 is one that focuses on the process being completed from start to finish. So this is saying, I read that book completely 2 times. 才看懂. 看懂, remember that? That means to understand, to read with understanding, to understand. So in other words, I had to read that book 2 times before I understood. That's an interesting way to say that. I just realized I said it in positive terms. I had to read that book 2 times before I understood. I wonder if I could do that here. You must do your homework before you can go out to play. It works. That is a way to kind of... So the before, of course, isn't always having to do with time or sequence. Sometimes it has to do with a condition being met. Does it work here? He locked the door before he remembered that he hadn't. It does work. So of course it's not a direct translation. Before and 才 isn't a direct translation, but I just realized I can use the word before to translate these sentences into English with basically the same word order. And so that's really exciting. I feel like that might help you to kind of conceptualize what's happening with 才. So it's like a condition has to be met, a certain time has to happen, something happened before something else happened. So there you have it. That is the not until or only after use of 才. Hey, welcome back. Here we're talking about 才, denoting a sense of lateness or slowness in the mind of the speaker. And if you remember 就, one of the first uses of 就that we talked about back in HSK 2 was the exact opposite of this. We have a 就plus了. We put when you use 就in this sense, you put了at the end of the sentence, and it means that in the mind of the speaker, it's only a short amount of time, or it happened very quickly. In this sense, 才 is the opposite of 就, because it gives us a time or amount of time or something, and then it says that it expresses that it feels slow to the speaker. Let me give you some examples. This is from All Set Learning. 他25岁才上大学. Sorry, I forgot to write the pinyin here. 他25岁. 25岁什么意思? What does that mean? 25 years old. He, 25 years old. So when he was 25 years old, or he was 25 years old, 才上大学, went to university or college. So he didn't go to college until he was 25 years old. So this usage is connected conceptually to the not until, only after, before that I was talking about in the last clip. But it has to do with a feeling of like, wow, so much time has to pass until this thing happened and it feels slow to me. Does that make sense how they're connected? I'm trying to think, can you use before? You can use before to translate this, but it's a little awkward. In English, we would normally say, he was 25 years old before he went to college. It works. In this case, it works. He was 25 years old before he went to college. That expresses that sense of lateness or slowness. Or he didn't go to college until, this is when we flip it around. The order is not the same. He didn't go to college until he was 25 years old. 都可以. All right, here we go. This is an example from a textbook, Integrated Chinese. I don't remember exactly which edition and exactly where it was, but this example is so classic. I think I referenced it when talking about 就, because it helps us contrast 就 and 才. So imagine, so this is 你一个月才回来. You 一个月, 1 month, 才回来, come back. So what is this saying? Can you guess? 你一个月, 1 month, 才回来, come back. That means you won't come back for a whole month. You won't come back for a month. Okay, so imagine, classic scene, a guy and a girl, boyfriend and girlfriend, or husband and wife, are saying goodbye to each other for a month. And the girl's crying, and the guy tries to comfort her by saying, 我一个月就回来了. I, 1 month, 就回来了. I'll be back in 1 month. I'll only be gone for a month. I'll be back in 1 month. And she responds, crying, 你一个月才回来. You won't be back for a month. It'll be a month before you get back. You see? It's the exact same time, but in the mind of the speaker, it feels a different length. He's saying, I'll be back in just a month. And she's saying, it'll be a whole month before you get back. And so that's how you can contrast 就 and 来. They go in the same spot, but they express a different kind of meaning. 就 will have a la, because that helps emphasize the quickness or completion of it. It's about to be completed idea. 你9点上班. You 9 o'clock 上班. 上班, you know what that means? It means go to work. 你9点上班. You start work at 9 o'clock. 8点半. What does that mean? 8点半. 8:30. 才起床. This is from Offset Learning. 起床 means to get out of bed. So this is expressing surprise and like incredulity. Is that a word? 你9点上班. You go to work at 9 and you don't get up until 8:30. Or if we want to try to use the word before, is you go to work at 9, but you don't get up before. You don't get up in. Oh wait, but you. No, I'm not quite working with this one. But anyway, you don't get up until 8:30 will work. All right, you get the feeling. You get the usage of 才 here. It opposite of 就, it gives you the sense that in the mind of the speaker, this amount of time is a long time. It's late or slowness. Here it's like lateness. Here it's like also lateness or slowness. Here it's more about that time. That amount of time feels long, too long. All right, I hope that helps.